Tech London Advocates Forum. So welcome, great to have you join us on a sunny Wednesday afternoon. Just a few housekeeping bits. We are screen recording this forum via Zoom, so if you don't want to be excluded, please turn off your camera. And then please may I also ask everyone to go on mute so we don't get any background noise, and we'll have a chance throughout the presentation, well, after the presentation, for lots of Q&A. These are, as we know, pretty strange and unprecedented times, and I've heard from many advocates over the past few weeks who've been sharing their experiences about running startups during the crisis, and I know many of you are in touch with many startups trying to give them help and support. Let me just take a quick moment, because I know a number of you on this are new to Tech London Advocates and Global Tech Advocates. So just to explain a little bit more, Tech London Advocates is a community of tech leaders all coming together as volunteers to do two things. One, to promote startups, scale-ups, leaders in the ecosystem, and two, to help us deal with the issues and challenges that we face as a tech hub and tech community. TLA now has over 9,000 advocates. I ask every advocate to do three things. One, use us as a resource when speaking, blogging, tweeting about tech. The good, the bad, doesn't matter. Let's really try and speak, if we can, with a consistent voice, independent from government, from the private sector. Two, the group is open, free to join, entirely inclusive. I just ask every advocate to introduce at least one new advocate to the community when ready to do so. And Zoltan, I know you've introduced a number of new people to this call, so please feel free to drop Zoltan a note afterwards, or me, Russ Shaw at mac.com, an email, and I'll bring you into the group straight away. And then three, I ask everybody to adopt the ethos. We're here to help each other for the greater good. So if an advocate reaches out and says, do you know this person? Can you connect me? Can you make an introduction? Either say yes or say, no, sorry, I can't. Let me see if I can find somebody who can. It's all I ask of every advocate. It's designed for very busy people. We have about 50 different working groups in TLA, including a TLA Creative Tech group, which Zoltan I know is a part of. So if you want to get more involved, do let us know and we'll connect you to the leaders of those particular groups. One last thing, Tech London Advocates is now one of 16 groups in Global Tech Advocates. So we have created this model in many other places around the world. Other groups are in the UK, in the North, in Belfast, and Scotland. We've got groups across Europe, in Nordic, Spain, Italy, Paris, in the Americas, in the Bay Area, in San Francisco, in Canada, Mexico, and Bogota, and in Asia, in Japan, Shanghai, Shenzhen, and Singapore, all modeled on this, all volunteers coming together, and I do all of this pro bono as my give back to tech. So that's just a little bit of background for all of you, so hopefully you're all up to speed. Coming back to the here and now, some of the experiences that we're hearing about people have raised concerns about keeping companies afloat, concerns about managing cash flow, concerns about managing staff remotely, which we're going to talk about, and even keeping staff during this challenging time. As soon as we went into lockdown, I wanted to make sure that advocates still had access to the support network that TLA offers. We need to be sharing advice, guidance, and expertise now more than ever, which I think is pretty obvious. So Tech London Advocates launched the TLA COVID-19 Resource Hub. So on our site, you'll see a few distinct components. There is a directory of advocates who are volunteering to support and help startups and scale-ups free of charge. There's online resources and information that can help tech companies. There are blog posts and advice pieces from advocates. And so this forum forms part of that resources bit. Can I ask everybody to go on mute, including you, Sean? I know you've just joined. Thank you.
Sorry about that, yeah.
No worries. We've also recorded 2 TLA Surgery podcasts with Ollie Barrett. We cover a new topic every fortnight. Suki, who you might have heard us speaking about, did our last one, which is about managing cash flow. So this is our second TLA Forum Zoom call. Again, these will be fortnightly check-ins for advocates to speak to me, a guest like Zoltan, who specialize in an industry that startups need to hear from. So with that, let me turn over and introduce to Zoltan. Zoltan Vass. He's frankly one of our most engaged advocates, and is an expert in managing and leading remote teams from all around the world. His areas of expertise range from tech and commerce, stakeholder management, business development, and strategy. Over 20 years of experience in innovative tech and digital projects for organizations such as BIMA, Selfridges, Smiths, and several others. And as part of this, you'll see shortly, Zoltan has kindly prepared a presentation on the core topics about remote working. And we're going to let him get through that. I think it's about 15 minutes, if that's correct, Zoltan. And then we're going to open up for questions. So without any further ado, Zoltan, over to you, and welcome everybody to the TLA Forum.
Thank you, Russ, for the great introduction. And first, I would like to say thank you, everybody, who took their time to join this call. And I would also like to thank you, Russ, for the opportunity, and for Caroline and Amy from the 7 Hill Teams to, pulling all this together. It's great. And also, I would like just to, be, open and honest. So what I will, share in this presentation, it's my perspective, what I see. So, take everything, in good faith. And we are trying to provide as much value as possible. And as Russ mentioned, I'm aiming to finish this presentation in 10-15 minutes roughly. So there will be Q&A after that, and we can, dive into the details. So I will just share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Great. So just a bit about myself.
No way! Oh, it is!
So that's me, I'm on the left-hand side, as you see, I was big time into fashion when I was a kid as well. And he's my brother, my little brother, Victor. He lives in Budapest. And this picture was taken in a zoo in Polish. So originally I'm from Serbia, but I'm Hungarian, and I live in London for 8.5 years now. So this is one of the pictures from back from 2017 when I was running my own agency. So I was living in, in one room, which was my office and my bedroom. So as you see, I had to be, quite organized and disciplined. So these are a few of the brands that I work with. I do believe that we have few of the representatives here. I do believe we have Rakesh from Dua, Seth from Parker Design, Charlotte from TLC Sport. I don't think that the mayor was able to join, but I'm sure that, he will be able to, to watch this video. So thank you, Khan, and thanks for keeping us safe. Few of my achievements, I've been named by British Interactive Media Association as one of the most influential people in digital. Virgin Media posted an article about my mentoring experience and achievements, and an undercover Gallup inspector rated my customer service skills at the Dorchester of 95.8%. And recently I've been named as a member at the Friends of Hungary Foundation. And 2 months ago, roughly, I've been introduced to Tech London Advocates, which I must say, it's really an amazing experience. And there are so many good people around, laid back, down to earth, lots of resources, and it's growing. It's absolutely amazing. So thank you, Russ, for organizing and pulling all this together. It's just fantastic. So as Russ mentioned, if you have any questions or you would like to join, feel free to reach out to me directly after the call. It's free to join the organization, and there are lots of benefits and networking opportunities and learning. So let's move to the remote working. So I would like just to show you a bit of a short video that I'm sure that we can relate to it. So I'm sure, guys, that, like a lot of you can, like relate to this, especially nowadays, because we are in lockdown, like we have kids, we have dogs. It's absolutely fine to have, like kids running it. I think, like the most important, if we can, like try to just communicate this upfront. So this is absolutely fine. There's no problem. So this is another perspective. It's just, like some people, like work, like in underwear or, like in jumpers. So, it's something that we all need to decide how we, like want to work. However, let's touch on the discipline bit. So many times we are just sitting in front of the computer and we are not actually, like even remotely working, right? Because we are on YouTube, like we are filling up the washing machine, making sure that, like the washing machine is happy, or, like we want to go to deep cleaning because, like there is a dust. It's a lot easier to find things around the house than to work, and or we can just jump to Netflix and watch another series of Money Heist, and then we are wondering why productivity dropped. Well, if you haven't heard about Jocko Willink, he was a Navy SEAL, and I'm reading his books, and I do agree with him that we all need to own everything, whatever we do, whether it's a project, a task, a requirement, anything in our life. It's just, like we have to own it. And this is a key how we can, like move forward. And the laser-like focus, this is something that I will touch on now. So I'm really much into martial arts, and Bruce Lee is, I'm a big Bruce Lee fan. So when it comes to laser focus, guys, when we have such calls, so this is, I'm not saying that this is a call, it can be, let's say, a conference or a retrospective or something. But when it comes to such calls, it would be good to, we can touch on this after, Q&A session, whether we have, whether we need to have the videos on or off. From my perspective, it really depends, because in the past, when I was chairing and steering heavy meetings and had really deep tech calls, we never had the videos on, just because, like we really needed to pay attention to the other person, and not, for example, to see that, I don't know, Joe, who is there? Like Bernie is having a Zoom background of Transformers or Star Wars or something. So when I'm just trying to get to this, that this is a distraction. So it's more important that, like we listen to the other person. Let's touch on governance. So governance is really important, because when we start, like to, whether we are talking about the project execution on anything in an organization, there needs to be some kind of governance. And, like when we start the week, it needs to be, like a proper kickoff. And whether you are working with project managers, team leads, so for me, they are ninjas, because those are the people who are on the ground and connecting the dots and gluing all the people together. So you really need to work very close with them. And whether, like you will be able to work with more senior project managers or team leads and less seniors. So whoever needs help, you need to be there, but you also need to explain that not everything can be escalated and needs to be escalated. So this again, like comes down to the ownership bit, that we need to help, like these people to own these things. And then the communication in remote working, it needs to be crystal clear, because a lot of time we have plenty of tools, emails, like hundreds of things, and things get lost in translation. So it's really good to make sure that, like how we communicate, and, like we try and get rid of the fluff. Processes also, it's really important when we work remotely. But again, like too many processes can kill productivity. Then when it comes to leadership and management, so they are the people, they need to step up and help their team and create a safe environment, because when the safe environment is being created, this means that the team member can take that ownership and responsibility, and can fail. Actually, it's that's the environment when we can have this conversation, that, somebody make a mistake and we can get to the bottom and ask, like, what was the problem, how we can help, how we can make things right. I can give you just a quick example. So there was a developer last year when he invested around 20 hours time to develop a requirement. However, he did not achieve anything. So he invested 20 hours. I was not able to build that, because how I can tell to the client, you need to pay 20 hours, but, like we haven't achieved anything. It's impossible. So I had a conversation with the team member, just ask him, like next time, if you have, like problems, if you reach, let's say 2-3 hours and you need help, you feel that you're stuck because for whatever reasons, then you just need to reach out to me or to the project manager, then, and we will find more senior person who can come on board, and you will have 5 minutes conversation and then problem solved. So these are the safe environments that, you know, like must be created. So this comes down to the company culture, but leaders and manager must step up and work and help people. So actually this is the methodology that I prepared, created for myself. So it's all, you know, like I'm always in a move. So this circle means that I'm transparent and I really love simplicity. The CAC means in a big, in a middle, create and convert. The water means if you pour water in a pint glass, it will become a pint glass. If you pour water in a jug or in a mug, it will become the mug. So we need to adapt to the situation. So this is the situation where we are in the moment, and we need to adapt. So the RE means rational empathy, explain, empower. This is how I'm trying to help people. And the T means that sometimes, you know, like we all need to dive into the details, but also we need to step back to be able to see the big picture. Again, teamwork it's essential and fundamental whatever we are doing. So whether you are in software development or somewhere else, have a daily check-in, whether it's a 15-minute call or a weekly call, reflect, you know, like organize retrospectives, just go through how was that week, what did we learn, what was the biggest challenge, and that will help to build that relationship between, you know, like team members, and to get to know each other. And this is really crucial. Let's touch about the mental fitness, because this is something that, you know, like it's coming up and it will be, you know, like more and more relevant, because some people, they are really confident working from home. Some people are less confident working from home because some people have kids, some people have dogs, some people just, you know, like just can't work from home. So we are all different, which is fine. So I would like just to share, you know, like how I'm approaching all these things. Maybe, you know, like it will, you know, like help you something or give you some ideas. So for me, the most important thing that in the current situation, we are not thinking why we can't go out or what's going on, because at the end, you know, like it's not a prison. This will end, the current situation will end in, you know, like 2 months time, 1 month time, hopefully, and then we can go out. So it's, so for me, you know, like I start my day, so it's not the phone that I'm grabbing straight in the morning first. I have 10, 15 minutes where I just think through my whole day and what are my priorities, just to clear up my head and making sure that I'm on track. Then I'm doing 3 times 50 push-ups. I'm not into caffeine, coffees, or any teas. So I'm making sure that, you know, like I'm boosted. So this gives me energy. And also I'm having regular breaks, 5, 10 minutes, whether it's in an hour, in every 2 hours. I'm also having naps of 25, 30 minutes most of the day, you know, like between 12 or 2 o'clock. It really depends how I'm organizing my day. Then at the end of the day, I really feel that, you know, like I was productive, I achieved a lot, and I just feel energized. So how I'm calming down, few tips, or, you know, there is something that recently came, you know, like came up. So I bought, for example, a coloring book for adults. I do enjoy it. I love colors. It's my creative side. So I just enjoy it. With friends, we are getting together during the evenings, playing, you know, like some strategy games online, or calling friends, you know, like family, reading books and doing online Muay Thai classes, listening to music. So it's just, you know, like few things to calm down, you know, like in the evening, you can meditate, you know, like something just to, you know, like get out of the things. Let's talk about the future of remote working. This is something interesting. So this is what we get used to, you know, like people who worked in offices. So it's a company culture. We have snacks, chocolates, drinks, pizza, everything, and we are happy. But suddenly now we are at home and our fridge is empty. Now the question is coming up, you know, like who will pay the bills? Whether, you know, it's what's going to happen. But it doesn't matter because we can work from Narnia, right? However, you know, like we still need to see, we are interested, you know, like what are the benefits? We want more benefits, or what's going on? Because, you know, like these, you know, like chocolates and drinks are not accessible at the moment. And what will happen in the future? Would you like to take the red or the blue pill? Fasten your seat belts, guys, because soon all the VR and AR is coming into remote working, because remote working will be the new norm. Companies will realize that renting an office for 250 people in central London, it's just not worth it. 150 people can work remotely, and they just need to, you know, like enable them to work remotely. And we will also be able to run workshops from our bedroom. Any questions? Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Zoltan. Very, very interesting, very motivating and inspiring, and some good fuel for thought here. So let me, I'm going to go into the chat and open that up a bit. And I'm going to change my grid here so I can see many of you. Somebody want to lead us off with the first question? Jake Shaw, did you want to jump in with a question for us?
Yes, certainly. Hiya, Russ. Hiya, Zoltan.
Hi, Jake. Just Jake is not Russ's brother, as far as I'm concerned, right?
But it's the good looks. It can be deceiving. You know? So I posted a question yesterday, which was with lots of people moving to working from home. I was talking to a CEO about 3 weeks ago, sent 150 people home to work from home. He's discovered their efficiency is as similar as it would have been in their office, but now they're not going to have an office anymore. They're just going to have a small hub. And my next question was going to be then, should employers be paying for people's facilities at home, like their electricity, their space, as they would for a rental of an office? And then I had a supplementary, not question, but incident today where a colleague of mine, a client I've had for many, many years, has pivoted his business from doing retirement homes to doing home offices. So basically you can have a key, up and go office plonked into your garden within 6 weeks of paying for it. Should businesses be paying for that?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to touch on the first question. So when it comes to the benefits like bills and utilities, for example. So I do believe that not in the current situation, because in the current situation, businesses are struggling, most of them. So this is the transition period, I would say. However, like once the dust settled, I do believe, like that should be the new norm. So I do believe that could be added as a benefit. Let's say if you're working from home, we are covering, 50% of your internet expenses or office. Just, like if you are working as a self-employed, you can, ask back, when you're, working your tax out, like that. I do believe that, like that could work out nicely.
Yeah, and there's some good comments in the chat about this in terms of claiming some of the costs for running your work from home. And just as a quick aside, before we jump into the next question, wearing my Global Tech Advocates hat, we're doing a project with HP at the moment, which I'm hoping will finish in the next couple of months. And we are speaking to IT leaders around the world, CIOs, CTOs, heads of IT, here in the UK, in Germany, in China, in Spain, and in the USA. And the focus with them is on, how are they dealing with the current pandemic? But a big part of the discussion is how are they preparing for the post-pandemic world of work? What does their, quote, distributed IT environment look like? And, my perspective so far, it's early days from the interviews, is we are not going back to the normal that we had a month ago. That will not exist any longer. That's not to say that we won't go back into places where we meet colleagues and coworkers and things like that. But we are definitely going to be a society that has much more remote working. And I think many companies will be picking up the cost of doing that. And they're going to want to, because they want to make sure that the networks that we have, the devices that we're using are secure and safe. And I don't believe there's an expectation that individual employees should be picking up that cost. So with that, let me see if there's somebody else who wants to jump in and ask a question. I'm just looking through my screen here. Jumher, do you want to jump in here? If you want to, Jumher, you're on mute.
Yes.
Okay, go for it.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay, nice. Zoltan, sorry, but I'm not agree with you. That is the democracy, as you know.
Yeah, that's fine.
Also, I'm working in ICT for more than 20 years, and also I'm in the collaboration business. And I was using WebEx, Zoom, maybe more than anybody who is in here. And the thing is, we are social animals, and it's a very force majeure situation, and we didn't choose that. we have to sit in home and protect our family and NSH and other people. And we were reduced and other alternatives still out of there. If you don't want to hire a specific permanent place, you can choose WeWork, reduce, whatever.
Yeah.
And you mentioned cost cutting.
Yes.
We are living in a capitalist system. Capitalist system means that giving less and asking more. That means, don't you think they are going to reduce our salaries? I think they are going to reduce because they will thought that you are not expending lots of money. We are not buying new beers, or we are not paying lots of things, and I'm going to give you less salary. Because the employers always want to earn more. I don't think they are going to share that profit with us.
Of course, yeah. I mean, do you have anything to add to this?
No, it's okay. Thank you.
So, I mean, it's when it comes to the profit. So, I mean that, if they can see that they can save money on two things. One, there is a large overhead when it comes to, renting, for example, a massive, space in central London. The second thing is the business travel. So I'm sure that they will come up with the solution, that will work for both sides, because, the business are, we live in a world where a business needs to make money. This is how, how they live, and this is how we are getting paid, right? So I'm pretty sure that, so when I said that, remote working, so I do believe that there will be, there should be two options. People can opt whether they want to work remotely. They will have all the necessary equipment, tools, secured laptop. When we move into the new VR, AR world, they will have all, the tools and benefits. For example, just saying something like covering the utility, some bills and, some chocolate, whatever, so these things. And the second thing, the other side, there will be people who can, opt, okay, I want to work from the office, or probably maybe there will be, just like in a remote, in remote working places such as WeWork, if you want, you can go in and, but there will be it will be an optional. But I do believe that, businesses will see a lot of benefits, not just from cost, from the cost perspective, but from productivity perspective as well. Because, for example, I don't need to travel now 2 hours a day. I feel a lot more relaxed, refreshed. I'm waking up just by myself around 6:15 every morning. I start working around 7, half 7. And sometimes, I'm working until 12, 1 o'clock, then I'm having my break. And then in the afternoon, I start working again until 6. Then I'm having a training. Sometimes I go back to my desk. So I have that freedom and flexibility. I understand that for some people, it's not good. So, but that's why I'm saying, there will be, an option. So it won't be mandatory that you have to work, from home.
Zoltan, there's a comment in the chat from Jerome Mini about a Vox article that I just wanted to pull out. We'll go from, this is from the US, 4% remote work